Alright class, so here is page 1 for Unit 2. Unit 2 is called Quadratic Function. So let me just quickly, a quadratic function including complex numbers. Quadratic functions just have this form. So like if it's a function we learned from chapter 1 or Unit 1, it's f of x. And it has this form x squared. Okay, so that's what makes it a quadratic, because of the square here. Okay, so we're going to deal with functions like that. But before we get to quadratics, we are going to spend time learning how to simplify, factor, and everything before we get to our quadratic functions later in this unit. Okay, so the quadratic functions like that. So we spend a big amount of time practicing how to simplify, how to multiply, and all this stuff. Okay, so the first thing is multiplying polynomials. Okay, first of all, what is a polynomial? A polynomial just means that it has many terms. Okay, and a term is anything that is separated by an addition sign or a subtraction sign. So for example, hold on. So for example, a term could look something like this: 2x minus 5x. This one has two terms right here. Or it could look something like this, where you just have one term, you're looking at 2y. It could have many terms. Okay, so a polynomial has many terms. Right here we have a polynomial 4n, one term, multiplied by one term, 4n times 5n. So here we just multiply the 4 and the 5, which is 20, and then we put n times n, which is n squared, and that's that. Okay, so this is a monomial, one term times a monomial. Okay, monomial multiplied by a monomial. Okay, over here you have a monomial, one term. This whole thing here is considered one term, and we're multiplying it with a binomial, which has two terms right here. Okay, so this is a monomial multiplied by a binomial. And it looks like this. Here we are going to distribute. Okay, so we're going to distribute 12x to 4x, and then we're going to distribute 12x to 3. Okay, so you do 12 times 4, which is 48, and then x times x is just x squared. And then I'm going to do, make sure you have an addition sign or a subtraction sign. 12 times 3 is 36, and then you have your x. That is my final simplified answer. Same thing here, we have a monomial times a binomial, so we're going to distribute again. So you have 4 times 3 is 12, and then you have x times x, which is x squared, and then 3 times negative 9, so I'm going to bring down the negative, because positive times a negative is still stays negative. 3 times 9 is 27. Okay, and then you have your x, and that's my final. Alright, and then I'll come over to this one. I have a binomial, two terms multiplied by a binomial, and these are pretty important ones for Unit 2. Okay, so we have a binomial multiplied by a binomial. Okay, so you have here, we use the, sometimes you might have heard it called the FOIL method, where we do the first, outer, inner, last. But I'll just show you that just like how we took and we distributed by everything, we'll do the same thing with the first term, and then we'll do the same thing with the second term. Okay, so we're going to first do 3x times 6x, then I'm going to do 3x times 7, then I'm going to do this 5 times 6x, and then 5 times negative 7. Just everything gets multiplied. So you have 3x times 6x, which is 3 times 6 is 18, and then x times x is x squared. And then you have 3x times negative 7, so you have 3x plus, I'll just put a plus, 3x times negative 7, I'm multiplying there. So 3 times 7 is negative 21, and then you have your x. Then you have 5 times 6x, 5 times 6x, which is 5 times 6 is 30, and then you have your x. And then you have 5 times negative 7. So this is negative 35. Now I have like terms here in the middle, so I'm gonna combine those two. So you have negative 21 plus 30, that is positive 9x. And then you bring down the negative 35, and then you have 18x squared. Okay. Here's two more examples right there. So you have x times 2x. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna skip this step where I write everything out. I'm just gonna multiply it out here. So you have x times 2x, which is 2x squared. X times negative 3, which is negative 3x. Then negative 4 times 2 is negative 8x. Negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. And then now you combine these terms. And then so you have x squared. And then negative 3 plus negative 8. 3 plus negative 8, negative 3 plus negative 8, that stays negative, and that's 12, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11x plus 12. Combine these two terms right here. Okay. And then finally this one, x times x is x squared, and then x times 5 is 5x, and then negative 5 times x is negative 5x, and negative 5 times 5 is negative 25, and then you have here combines of 5 minus 5, that's just 0, and then you have x squared minus 25. Most of the time when we multiply a binomial times a binomial, we get this thing called a trinomial right here, because it has 3 terms. Here's another trinomial, 3 terms. And also notice that this is a quadratic. It has a squared and a squared. And because we have that x and the x, so that's x squared. This one didn't come out to be a trinomial. This is a binomial. Because this is a special multiplication problem, you have x minus 5 and x plus 5. Minus plus is what makes it cancel out. Okay, that's page 1.